Hello and welcome to another episode of the Space Update. We're live today. Coming up on today's show, we'll be talking Starship, SN10, dearMoon, Rocket Lab, and a whole lot more. I'm your host Ryan, and joining me today is
I'm Mikko, the host of Deep Dive Fridays.
do you want to introduce yourself, Ida?
Hi, this is Edelweiss or Static Fire Girl in Twitter.
Yeah, thanks for joining us both, guys. Let's just kick things off. We'll start off with Virgin Galactic. We saw them introduce their Spaceship 3, just a little sneak peek picture online of their new vehicle rolling out the end of this month. Not too much information. It's just a little bit strange that they're rolling out a third version of their vehicle, considering they're only just finishing up testing on their Spaceship 3 vehicle.
Yeah, it's a cool looking spaceship.
Yeah, but from the picture we've seen online, just thrown up on Twitter, literally a week or two ago, it looks more of a chrome finish, but it's very a lot of lighting effects in that picture that's online. If you want to search for it, up on Virgin Galactic's Twitter page of Spaceship 3. But I imagine it's along the lines of Spaceship 2 that they're currently test flying and everything, but maybe a little bit bigger and everything. I don't know.
Do you know if the first and second spaceships were around the same size, or was one of those bigger than the other?
I don't know yet. Nothing's been confirmed for this vehicle and everything, but we'll have to just keep our ears down to the ground for now on that one. And
Yeah.
also another new vehicle, Rocket Lab. After saying they won't do it, Rocket Lab have announced a new rocket in development, the Neutron rocket, a medium-sized rocket, about 40 meters in height, but quite considerable payload. I believe it was up to 8 tons payload. I believe that's going to carry. And in an interesting video that from Rocket Lab, Peter Beck finally ate his hat in a quite hilarious video, which is he got his
Yeah,
good daily dose of fibre from that hat, I think.
that was really funny.
Each one of these engines is 3D printed out of
Yeah.
super
So what
And
do you
the-
guys
Right now
think
we
of the
can
design and
about
everything?
one engine every
Well,
It's pretty cool.
yeah, looks like a bigger Electron mostly, but the material looks a bit like Starship. Well, is it metal or what? Steel? And regarding the payload of 8 tons, it's worth noting that it's reusable payload.
Yeah.
How is it going to land? I mean, are they planning to land it like Falcon, or is it different?
Essentially, yeah, it got the Elon Musk stamp of approval on Twitter.
Mm.
Yeah. So yeah, they should be landing on an ocean platform.
Quite
Okay.
interestingly, obviously, when you look at Falcon 9, it's got similar legs to what Neutron's got similar legs to Falcon 9, but the difference with Falcon 9 is you've got those grid fins at the very top. So it's quite interesting to see how Rocket Lab will control the rocket in descent, whether they'll use some form of RCS or whether there might be some kind of fins, a bit like we see on what we're going to see on New Glenn to control the rocket, or whether they're just going to all out risk it and try and control the rocket with the engines on descent.
I would think they will add something there. And another thing they probably will change is the fairing. It's currently just as the diameter is the same as the whole rocket, but usually rockets have a bit bigger fairing. So I expect that might be 5 meters when they actually unveil the rocket.
Yeah. I mean, the diameter of the current Neutron rocket for Rocket Lab is around about 4.5 meters, which essentially is the width of the rocket at the moment. And like I say, the rocket that's planned to be 40 meters high or 131 foot, however you like to take your measurements and everything. The payload to low Earth orbit is 8 tons, and then to Venus, quite interestingly, they put up there 1.5 tons. So that's what Rocket Lab's little end goal is, to get something in or around Venus by the sounds of it. So we could see around about a 1.5 ton vehicle of some sort eventually launch on that rocket, maybe.
Yeah, and the 1.5 ton payload was also to Mars, so basically they could. I'm not sure if they could actually launch Perseverance, but almost something as big to Mars.
Definitely, definitely. And what do you make of Rocket Lab's new rocket, Adele? Yeah.
I can't wait for it to see flying. Have they done testing yet? I
No,
haven't seen any
they've
videos.
only probably done the engine testing. So I believe they're putting bigger engines in this rocket, with it being bigger in general and everything. But as in testing on the other bits, I don't know. Rocket Lab are quite, within reason, secretive about their testing. I think. Am I right, Miko?
Yeah, I kind of think the only thing they have done is the design and the fairing, because I heard somewhere that they are not really sure what engines to use at the moment. So do they go without electrical turbopumps like Electron, because scaling them up is not easy.
Yeah, maybe Elon can hook them up with some Tesla power walls, put them in there, and but a bit of hot swap with those, it might be a bit tricky, just toying out a giant battery out in space. But
I was
you
thinking,
never
put
know.
some Blue Origin engines in the Neutron.
Oh, don't say that. They haven't even been tested yet.
Yeah.
I know, but I just heard that the Blue Origin engine is they put it in the ULA Vulcan rocket.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm really confused. Why would Blue Origin have an engine in a Vulcan or in a ULA rocket ship?
The backstory to that is Blue Origin are working very closely with ULA, which is made up of Boeing and Lockheed Martin. So maybe in a bit of a trade-off, ULA helping them construct their vehicle, Blue Origin are allowing the company to use their engines, and ULA want to get away from the RD engines, like the RD 180s, I believe, or something like that, which are the
Yeah.
Russian-made rocket engines at the moment and everything. So with them wanting to get away from the Russian engines, we're looking anyway to use likes of Aerojet Rocketdyne or someone. They eventually went with Blue Origin's B4 engines because obviously they want to go reusable. But the only thing about Vulcan is the tiny portion at the bottom is only going to be reusable, which is a bit strange, but that's what they want to do. But they're essentially Blue Origin got confirmation off Tori Bruno that Vulcan's essentially going to test the BE4 engines prior to New Glenn flying. So the BE4 engines are going to be tested essentially by ULA prior to anything happening with New Glenn, which is a bit unusual, because it's like SpaceX giving the Raptor engines to NASA or someone else and sticking a few Raptors on the SLS. Like, yeah, NASA, go and test our engines before we stick it on Starship, kind of thing. It's a bit unusual, but ULA and Blue Origin helping each other out there, I think, behind the scenes. That's a little backstory for you.
Thanks for that. Marco said that I'm too loud in the stream. Am I so loud?
You're not too bad. Don't worry about that.
I am. I was close in the microphone, so I'm far now, and I have removed my gain in my microphone.
It's good now.
Don't worry about it. But staying on the theme of Blue Origin, anyway, they actually left open the door the other week, and someone snapped a little sneak peek of the New Glenn rocket, assuming it's the Pathfinder version of it, not the flight or launch capable version. So it looks like a lot further ahead than what a lot of people assumed, maybe. We saw the core booster and some of the fin sections for the actual rocket and everything. But they actually dropped a lot of, and then prior to that, a few days after, they dropped a production visit by someone and just dropped it up on their YouTube channel. So we'll fire that up on screen if we can there and everything. But just really interesting seeing the actually seeing the new Glen rocket now.
Yeah, and actually, Blue Origin, soon after the release of that video, they announced that New Glenn will be a year late. Instead of flying the end of this year, it will be end of 2022. So, yeah, I'm not sure about their progress. I think the PE4 engines are the most ready part that will be flying on Vulcan.
Yeah, because we've seen the smaller B engines on the little New Shepard. So within reason, the technology has already been tested at a smaller scale. And that little New Shepard rocket, as everyone plagiarizes it, it's not orbital or anything like that. But the engines have been tested a hell of a lot. And Blue Origin and everyone are saying that the engines are better than expected. We haven't really seen any specifications released as such on that yet, but be quite interesting to see once it goes. But I believe part of the reason Blue Origin got pushed back might be because the Vulcan rocket got pushed back as well. So I think Vulcan isn't going to fly until Tori Bruno said Q4 now. So he said so we're looking about November, December time for the Vulcan to actually fly. But even Vulcan could possibly slip to early 2022.
I hope not. I hope they will fly this year.
Yeah,
Be
and
cool to see a new rocket.
obviously a lot of people's names flying up on that rocket towards the moon on the Peregrine lander and everything. So along with our little group and everything. So we'll bring you more on that and everything. But jumping on to arguably the most talked about subject, well, since it began, literally Starship SN10, we saw it finally fly again, another version. Almost survived after that very bumpy landing, everything. But what were your thoughts on that flight, Miko?
Well, I actually made a
Starship
short
10 test
video
flight.
about it,
We
and
counted
in the
down
end,
earlier.
I concluded it's a huge success. I mean, they
Seconds.
landed it. It's what
Yeah, yeah.
matters.
It's quite interesting 'cause on the ascent, we saw some of the engines just burning blue green, and then it looked like one was almost setting itself on fire, like big orange flame coming out of it. That's like what's going on with the fuel there. And I know you were saying it was possibly the engines just powering down, so they become a bit LOX rich and everything, like liquid oxygen.
8,
Yeah, they could be powering down, not LOX rich, but
3,
fuel rich. The orange flame would mean that. I mean, they could throttle it down. With fuel rich combustion, it doesn't produce as much thrust. So maybe they had too much thrust and had to throttle down one engine a bit more. Or even they did have, I think there was SN27 Raptor engine, and then there was SN40 something Raptor engine. So even the generations apart, the engines, that could make a difference. Yeah.
Yeah. But then actually seen all three engines relight on that maneuver flip at the end there. It was quite interesting. A bit of a flamey start up and burn out, but it almost got there. That's whether that last engine burnt out a little bit too soon or didn't have enough thrust just to slow it just down just that little bit more. I don't know, but obviously there was the problem with the legs that we've seen floating around on social media. A lot of the legs literally dangling and flapping and locking in place. So that was another conundrum that's going to have to be solved in the design stage later on. What did you make? What did you make of it, Adel?
I think there's a plumbing issue there going on there with Starships SN9. It's like I think there's like a leak in the methane during the flight, I can actually see it leaking while it was ascending.
Yeah,
And
as it flies and everything, it has like boil off and the RCS thrusters and all sorts. It's always has that like methane and liquid oxygen smoke and everything coming out of it and everything. It just boils off. It's not necessarily leaking. It's just the excess gases escaping from the tanks and everything like that.
so it's
But
normal for I'm sorry.
yeah, it's normal for it to vent out liquid oxygen. I'm not sure if there was any problems during the ascent or even descent. The only real thing was when it was coming down and the fire stayed there. I think it burned for a few minutes, and that must have done something. And it could have sprung a leak with the hard landing. There could have been some methane leaking out for the, was it 8, 10, or even 15 minutes what it survived after the flight. But yeah.
Yeah, it was essentially just sitting on the engine skirt, wasn't it? Those landing legs. I think it might have landed on maybe 3 that actually locked in place out of the 8 or 10 legs it actually has. So I'm assuming those crush cores will be very well and truly pancaked after that.
T-Rex legs.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I've always said that the landing legs they need to be improved because hypothetically, if there is a hard landing, a slight malfunction with the engine on a normal landing in the years to come, it's going to need some kind of pressure system to take up that extra bounce like we saw on the SN10 landing there. So in the future, if that happens, you're going to need some kind of suppression system or suspension system, whatever you want to call it, in there to absorb the shock of a slight malfunction, especially when you've got crew on board and everything like that. And you can't do crush core legs on Starship because at the moment you can't do crush core because it's essentially single use within reason, the crush core ones, and if anything goes wrong, you just need to replace them.
Yeah. And I
Do you
do
think
think
SN? Yeah.
we have seen much harder landings with Falcon 9 cores, and they still have survived on the drone ships.
You're going to come in there, Edel. Sorry.
Can I ask? Do you think SN11 will nail it this time? Nail the landing.
I'd like to think it will.
Yeah.
I still think the landing legs will be the bane of Starship until it gets upgraded. I've always said that for a while since we saw, although SN5 and 6, like the first test ones with the single engines, like the tanks, although they did land and everything, when you saw them take it all apart, at least half of the landing legs were crushed, like literally obliterated. And that was just on the single engine and half a Starship. So to try and expect a fully built Starship to land perfectly with more weight and more everything, it was, even if they're locked all in place, it might not have safely stood there anyway, regardless. But yeah, that's my thought anyway. It needs new landing legs. I think SN11 will nail it, but the legs might fail it again.
Yeah, that's possible, but I don't think they can tweak the software a bit so that the Starship could be making just a bit softer landing. So, and yeah, I mean, they have gotten the landing legs to work on SN5 and 6. So I would think they can actually make the landing legs lock with this one too. I mean, it could be something with the belly flop maneuver or the landing maneuver, so the gravity can't lock those in place. But yeah, I guess we'll see about that.
Is it possible to have Starship to have a Falcon legs?
Or me
there's
for.
quite a bit of speculation about that. I mean, yeah, theoretically, yes, but the current design is much more lighter than the Falcon like legs would be. So it would add quite a bit of more weight and take some of the payload away. So, well, we'll see what Elon and the 3D artists come up with.
Yeah, I think the main bane with the landing legs was they've got to keep the bottom side or the belly side of the Starship reasonably tight and clear because that's where all the heat shielding's going to go. There was some theory to do Falcon style legs, but they'd still have to have the heat shielding wrapped around it. But then would having that join with the landing legs against the body, would it weaken it and create a gap where the atmosphere, when it's coming through the atmosphere burning red hot, would it create a weakness in the body or not? So there's been a few speculations of whether the actual legs will extend from the actual engine skirt inside the engine skirt somehow and various stuff like that. But you only need to look to Twitter for the likes of Marcus, Eric Space, and Neil Park, and dozens and dozens of other 3D rendering guys out there. We've had a few of the great guys on our podcast talking about their work, and we're planning to get them on again. But there's some great ideas if you guys out there want to scoot around on Twitter, because everyone's just trying to fathom it out at the moment. And even Elon said it's the number one bane of Starship at the moment. How will the landing legs work? That's the number one thing Elon's rattling his head with at the moment.
Yeah. And if you want to check out the episode about the 3D animators, we had Nick Henning, Eric X Space, and Caspar Stanley. I'm not sure which episode it was, but it was a deep dive episode and it was last year, maybe November.
Yeah, after the show's finished, we'll just link it down below or here on YouTube for everyone watching. So you want to watch any of the other previous shows that we mentioned throughout this, we'll just link it down below after the show. So we'll make sure we do that. And more interestingly, slightly linked to Starship, we had some big news on dearMoon from, I'm going to attempt his name, Yusaku Mazua. Butchering it
Yusaku
there.
Maezawa.
There we go. But yeah, the dearMoon project, it's he's essentially outright paid for, and he's partially funding all the Starship program and everything. He's outright paid for a trip around the moon, 12 seats in total, few for the pilot and everything. But more interestingly, he's opened up 8 of the seats to the general public to essentially it's going to be like a recruitment process. So make sure you guys head over to the website that you can see on the screen there. You can actually sign up, put your name down for a selection process starting in the coming weeks or months.
Oh.
It's quite interesting. I believe Miko's already got his name down to go up there. I have,
Yeah.
and I believe some of the other guys in Total Space have, which is quite interesting. Maybe we'll just all go up on there together and we'll just do a podcast
Yeah.
in space. Why not?
Yeah, that would be great. How about you, Edel? Have you joined already?
My family joined already. My whole family signed up. We're gonna go to the moon.
Your whole family.
Great.
Raise your chances of going. But it's absolutely fantastic that it was originally going to be. Originally, the idea was to take the top artists, scientists, this, that, and the other. But he kind of like stepped away from that and it's like, "Do you know what? Rather than taking the top people, rather than just make it a bit more fair and extend it to essentially everyone, the general public, no matter what walk of life you come from. You don't have to be a scientist with a PhD, masters, whatever you got under your belt. You can just be the average Joe and have some passion and desire under your belt and apply for it. And for all you know, you might just get there and fly around the moon with in Starship. It'd just be absolutely insane, I think, to say
Yeah.
the least.
Yeah, and Yusaku Maezawa mentioned that he decided that pretty much everyone can be an artist. So basically, there's two requirements. You gotta be a bit creative, and the second one is you have to be able to help each other out there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
teamwork. Teamwork makes the dream
Yeah,
work, as we know
team
on Total
space.
Space.
Yeah,
But we've seen another Falcon 9 launch as well earlier today from SpaceX.
Oh yeah.
Back to routine with Starlink launches again after that little hiccup with the booster that didn't make it last time. We've got a little bit of news on that booster that actually went a bit awry. Something to do with the hot gases burning through one of the covers and causing engine shutdown on landing. So essentially, that booster either broke up just before landing or smashed into the sea and blew up
I'll
just off camera.
correct you a bit. Actually, it it shut down already on ascent. So that I that's what I understood from the NASA conference
Yeah,
where
yeah,
the SpaceX guy was talking about it. So it
yeah,
already shut down there, and in the landing they relit the engine, but it didn't have enough thrust to slow down the vehicle. And I don't think they have a fail-safe because it was probably the center engine or something like that.
yeah. It's quite interesting though, because they always say that if one engine goes, they can switch to other ones, but when it comes to the landing, they can't do that, which is a bit odd. But I'm assuming that's the way they designed it. So yes, I suppose the center engine has got to be the most reliable, essentially, within reason.
Yeah, and they also said, uh, I think they were called boots, the engine covers that got a hole, and the guy said that they were actually life leaders on that booster. So maybe they have used to changing them on other cores before. Was that the flight number 6? So maybe they already changed them at 5 flights.
Yeah, yeah, but it's a good learning curve for them anyway, because they're doing something that's never been done before, essentially. So these little fine tuning and little niggles will they'll run into them before anyone else does, because no one's essentially done this before, especially to the caliber of what SpaceX are doing. 'Cause, yeah, Blue Origin's New Shepard has flown equally as much within reason, but it's not actually been orbital or carried anywhere near as much. 'Cause I believe New.
Yeah, and yeah, I just yeah. About today's Starlink mission, I think the first stage video was actually missing there. So they
Yeah.
probably didn't have the camera on.
Yeah, yeah. I didn't catch the launch because it was literally that awkward time where I'm leaving the house and everything.
Uh, Not is our audio still going to the stream? Okay, looks like our pictures are online again.
We're back.
If anyone in the chat on YouTube wants to give it a big, just a little sound check.
Yeah, it seemed to work. I just checked. So yeah, we were talking about the earlier Starlink mission.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's great to see SpaceX pushing the envelope.
definitely. And literally in another few days, we've got another one of the Starlink launches going up. I believe Sunday or possibly Monday, just depending weather, obviously, because I know we do all these launch updates saying, "Oh, Starlink's going to launch Sunday," and then we'll probably come off here and go out, jump on Twitter. Then it's just moved a couple of days, but the next launch is scheduled for Sunday or Monday, I believe. Another Starlink launch. with a different booster. I think it's the 6th flight booster on this next one. The one that's just landed earlier on this morning was its 8th flight, I believe. So they're nearly
Yeah.
in the double figures, which is what Elon's stating they'll be the near maximum. But I believe they'll probably just keep pushing on with Falcon 9 to see how much they can be reused.
Yeah, they start to need to replace some parts when they go over 10 flights, but I suppose they can do quite a bit more than 10. The question is, will they do it?
Yeah, yeah. And jumping back to Starship and everything, there's still a lot of developments going on down at Boca Chica. We've seen some big dome shapes in the construction yard. I think a lot of people believe it's going to be the fuel tanks for the new tank farm essentially for Starship and everything. 'Cause we've got all those small tanks just clustered together just to the side of the launch pad, but I believe they're going to build something a bit more permanent, actually out the steel that Starship's made from, quite interestingly as well. That's just going to be situated probably quite near close by, because the fuel lines need to be relatively short for the cryogenic fuel and everything like that. But it's quite interesting that they're making it out the same material and everything, just keep it on brand and everything, make it all look the same.
Yeah, the SpaceX way.
And then we've got hopefully in a few weeks' time with our little bet Miko. I think you were saying a few months for the super heavy booster and everything. I'm still thinking the end of the month that we might see it something happen with it.
What did I say? Was it
I think
3
you said
months?
2 to 3 months.
Yeah.
I was thinking at the end of the month we might see something with it, because within reason, if they can build or within reason build put Starship together within a matter of weeks within reason. I'm assuming they could get the super heavy booster somewhere near ready for at least cryogenic testing and everything within the next few weeks.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see how it all goes.
Pretty
Yeah, sure.
excited there.
And more interestingly, I'm looking forward to SN15. We've seen a lot of it constructed. Quite interestingly, the nose cone's only got the top end of the nose just slightly cut off. It hasn't actually been put on yet, has it?
Probably not. I haven't actually
Yeah.
get that much.
Yeah, so the nose cone, like how it's usually constructed, just construct the whole thing, put it on top. But so far, the nose cone's like 99% done, but the very top tip of the nose isn't actually on yet. It's actually exposed, which is a bit unusual. But whether they're going to build the tank into the actual nose cone itself rather than having a separate tank to do that. I don't know whether that's part of the plan or something else is going in the nose, or whether they just left it off for access. I don't know, but there's a lot of big changes coming with SN15. So we'll have to see what those will be. Whether it's just minor changes for now, I don't know.
Yeah. Or it could be a service hole or something. Well,
Yeah. But excited for SN11. Hopefully, we'll get to see that up on the test stand within maybe a matter of days. By the time they've cleared up SN10, a lot of debris went absolutely flying. I mean, when SN10 went off, it essentially done a second hop. The height of that thing was just unbelievable when it's on that boom after it landed. I think quite easily got 100 to 150 feet in the air from what we could see.
yeah, and I would say that was the fastest turnaround time for a Starship flight.
Yeah. But lots more to come from Starship, lots more to come from SpaceX, and very interesting to keep a close eye on Rocket Lab's Neutron rocket and everything. Lots more coming up at Boca Chica literally every day. So next week we'll probably bring you a whole lot of other news and everything. Again, thanks for joining us this week. We'll catch us over on Twitter and everything for further updates. And as we said before, some of the previous videos that Miko and myself have mentioned, we'll try and link those below for you after the show in all the notes and everything if you want to catch that. Miko's short video on Starship and the one on the guys on the 3D renders on Starship. We'll drop that all down below and try and link in some of the artists there for you as well, so you can check out their crazy awesome work as well. I've been Ryan from the Space Update. Thanks for joining again, guys.
And I've been Mikko, the host of Deep Dive Fridays.
It was Edelweiss, just Static Fire Girl.
Thanks for joining us, guys. And as always, a big thank you to our Patreon supporters: Anthony Mann, Warhawk, Angry Astronaut, Howard Walker, Simon Skuro, What About It, To the Future, Gaia Pagulari, Framrick, Susie, and Mako. Thanks again, guys. And if you would like to support what we do here at Total Space Network, gain access to exclusive content, early access to episodes like these guys, and even chat to special guests here on the show in Discord, head over to patreon.com/Total Space. And where else can they catch us, Miko?
Well, you can find us at our website, totalspace.net, and you can listen to the podcasts on your favorite platform. And you should also follow us on Twitter at TotalSpaceNet.
And also up there on the website, we've got the merch store. If you go to Total Space Net, click on the merch store, it'll take you to all the awesome merch, so you can become a Miko, part of the Miko fan club, or part of the Become a Multiplanetary club, or some of the space update merch up on there, and even the Total Space merch, the mugs, t-shirts, the whole lot's up there, so that you can catch that through the website also. And as always, like, subscribe, and all that here on YouTube. Thanks again, guys, and I'll see you next week.
Bye.